Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to see two videos actually, because both the videos has hands-on as well. So we are going to talk about this particular topic over here, identifying connectivity options, for example, AWS VPN, AWS Direct Connect, and a public internet. There's no hands-on for public internet, so we're gonna club them together, AWS Direct Connect and public internet, and then we're gonna see one video or this video for AWS VPN. So uh, so this is identifying connectivity options. So there are different ways of connecting to AWS. So what we are using currently right now is public internet connectivity. So I'm using my public internet to connect to AWS console, or through command line or AWS CLI. So I'm using public internet. So that's pretty much out of the way. You don't really need a separate session or to be part of it, because this is what we are doing right now. So there are two other methods of connecting to AWS. So previously we spoke about is like working with AWS. So for example, here deciding the option in terms of working with AWS. So this means that when you're working with AWS, you have to follow these options. When you are connecting with AWS, it's completely different than working with AWS. So if you don't have connectivity, you cannot actually work with AWS or use any of these methods to work with AWS, right? Because you don't have the connectivity to do so. So firstly, you need to think about the connectivity of it. So in our situation, we have used the public internet over here, in which we were able to access AWS service using the internet. What if my system doesn't have internet, but it has intranet? Intranet is basically your company network, okay, where in which you can access only your company related items. And whensoever requested to access a external website, like for example, have you tried accessing gmail.com in your company's laptop, or in your when you're in company, right? It wouldn't work, right? So when we took over a project which actually has Gmail as the main mails, because they were using the G Suite, that customer was using G Suite, it took about more than a couple of months to get approval from my company and to get really access to Gmail on my system. Because by default, what happens is like in your company intranet, when any kind of a thing goes outside, right, it goes through proxy when it gets to the internet. So the proxy will block all the unwanted sites, like example, Gmail, or if any kind of a social media. So it basically disables them. Okay, so what you are having right there is an intranet. So it's an intranet, meaning that it's interconnected with your company's network. Okay, and internet meaning that there is no restriction whatsoever, and you are using your personal internet to browse the AWS. So when we talk about intranet, these two things comes into the picture. Okay, so that's the difference between an internet and an intranet. So there are these two methods of working with it. So first, in this video, we will see VPN. On the next video, we will see the direct connect. Now, what is VPN? VPN is not new. Okay, and AWS VPN is just a way to connect to AWS services. Okay, but VPN, let's first understand, it's called virtual private network, and it's not a in term just about AWS. VPN existed way before AWS itself. For example, if I'm using a laptop from my office and I want to like connect to my office network, where in which after connecting to my office network, I will be part of my office. Okay, so until then, my laptop is not part of my office. Now, how do I say that? Very simple. So when you're not connected to your office network using a VPN, when you type in the IP address of your service and you try to do PuTTY connection to the servers, right? It will not work. It will say that this IP is not found, because those are internal IP addresses. So when you open the VPN app and you log into your VPN with your company information, then basically it connects to your office network. It asks for your authentication, which is your username and password. And once you've given the username and password as your authentication, then what happens is like it establishes connectivity to your office network and make you part of internet and intranet. So you will get two IP address on your system. One will be, goes through the internet. Another one will go through intranet. So you will have the two-sided network right now. So which means that you will be able to access those servers which was previously you were unable to connect. Now that's because you are part of the office network because you connected through VPN. The same logic is used over here as well. So AWS VPN allows you to establish a secure unencrypted connection between you, your on-premises network, and your AWS Virtual Private Cloud VPC. AWS offers two types of VPN services, site-to-site VPN and client VPN. So we have two options over here. We will see that on hands-on, which is coming in a couple of minutes. The key features over here is the secure. First is like data is encrypted during the transmission over the public internet. Cost effective in case of lower upfront cost compared to dedicated connectivity options. Flexibility in terms of supporting, it supports connecting multiple on-premises sites to AWS VPC. So when you get access to AWS VPC, that means that you actually have access to the services which is hosted as part of AWS VPC. That's why we say VPC, because VPC is the whole sole connection to AWS. Okay, so when I'm accessing AWS services from my account, right, I will be using AWS VPC to connect to my services. Now, let's talk about site-to-site VPN first. It is used to connect your on-premises network or branch offices to AWS VPC. Now, it is managed by AWS VPN Gateway, allowing encrypted traffic over the internet. So it uses connection over the internet. Now, for example, a company wants to securely connect its data center to VPC in AWS, allowing it to run cloud resources that can interact with internet network. So in that situation, we use site-to-site VPN. Now, do remember that for any VPN, you need internet. Without internet, you cannot actually connect to VPN. So that's something you should remember. In terms of client VPN, it allows individual users such as remote employees to securely connect with AWS VPC using the VPN client over the internet. Now, pretty much site-to-site and site-to-site VPN, when you compare it, it is basically on your on-premises network, where it could be your branch office, it could be your actual office where you are actually working from. So site-to-site VPN will be on the on-premises network, okay? And client VPN is something when your employee goes to work from home and he he wants to access the AWS services, which is hosted on AWS VPC. In that situation, you use the client VPN where the particular person or individual is allowed to connect. Often used as a remote access or securing connection for mobile networks, mobile workers. So that's pretty much that category the client VPN covers. In terms of use case, securely extending on-premises network to AWS VPC, enabling encrypted connection from remote employees accessing internal AWS resources, connecting multiple branch office to a central AWS VPC. So you may get questions towards this, like very simply, they will ask you, a company is newly formed and they want their remote workers to connect to they want their remote workers to connect to, AWS services. which service should you use for this? And one of those will be VPNs. I mean, from my understanding, it's going to be like VPN itself is like a question it would be. So they won't go down to the level of client VPN or site-to-site VPN. So I don't think they're going to go there. But even if they go there, you know it. So it's going to be a client VPN. So if they are from office, if they are working from office, then you have to select site-to-site, because from office network, you can use site-to-site VPN. But if it's a personal laptop or individual trying to access it, it's basically client VPN. So where he is outside the office network and he is trying to access AWS resources for a VPC, which is hosted as part of your organization. Now let's go to hands-on video, which is not much, so that's why I've included it as part of this video itself, so that you can work with it. So as you can see over here, so we are in the console. So just type VPN. VPN comes under VPC as one of its services. Now just open VPC console, and within that you will see virtual private network. Now you have the customer gateway, which is basically your site-to-site VPN, which is required over here. So if you create a site-to-site VPN connection, it creates a virtual private gateway and a customer private gateway. And then you have the client VPN endpoints as well. So you can also create client VPN endpoints. So from the VPN client, they will be actually connecting to the endpoint over here, and that will give access to your VPC, because your VPC is the one which actually hosts your network stuff. So you will see VPC. Under VPC, you will have subnets. Under subnets, you will have your hosted services. So that's how it works. All right, so pretty much this is what I want to give you as a hands-on. We're not going to create any kind of a VPN and try testing it. So that's not going to be part of your examination. It's really not required at this stage, at this level, because it may be too confusing and too advanced for you at this moment, because you've not understood the basic networking as well. So thank you again for watching this video. I will see you on the next interesting video.